marching to new heights of development under the dynamic and young leadership of Dr. Pramod Sawant. A visionary leader, a meticulous administrator, tirelessly working on the dream to take Goa ahead. Goa Ahead is brought to you by the Department of Information and Publicity, Government of Goa.
Hello and welcome to this special episode of Goa Ahead and a special broadcast. Mainly because of the historic judgment of the Supreme Court in the Goa Municipality Reservation Matter. What does the verdict say? What are its implications? And what is the state of municipality elections in Goa? I'll go straight away across to our reporter, legal reporter Mukesh Kumar. Mukesh, tell us what the verdict is, what are the salient features of the verdict, and then we'll go to our panel and discuss what are the implications of this. Go ahead, Mukesh.
Pramod, the Supreme Court has upheld the judgment of the High Court dated 1st March, questioning and setting aside the notification issued by Goa government dated 4th February in respect of reservation in Marmugaon, Mapsa, Margaon, Sangem and Kepem municipal councils. The High Court in its order had directed Goa government to issue fresh notification regarding reservation in these 5 municipal councils in 10 days from the date of judgment, that was 1st March, and complete the election process by 15th April. Now the Supreme Court has ordered Goa government to issue fresh notification regarding reservation in these 5 municipal councils in 10 days from the today and complete the election process by 30th April. Now the Supreme Court has slammed Goa government and Goa State Election Commission for issuing the notification in hurried manner on 22nd February when the High Court was scheduled to hear all the petitions for final disposal. Criticizing the act of the State Election Commission, the Supreme Court has observed that the notification was issued by Goa State Election Commission at 9 am when the government offices open usually at 9:30 am. The Supreme Court has further observed that the State Election Commission is an independent constitutional authority, but here it doesn't seem that a State Election Commissioner acted independently. The Supreme Court has slammed Goa government for giving Law Secretary additional charge of a State Election Commissioner and directed Goa government to appoint full-time independent State Election Commissioner very soon. Going one step ahead and setting a principle, the Supreme Court has ordered to immediately step down any such state election commissioner in any state who is holding this constitutional post as an additional charge. Pramod?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm opening it up to our panel now. First, I have with me in the studio lawyer for the State Election Commission, Advocate Shashikant Joshi. Shashikant Bab, welcome.
Yes.
Joining me online is President of Goa Forward Party and one of the petitioners in this case, Vijay Sardesai. Vijay Bab, welcome. And I have another petitioner from the Congress Party, leader of the Congress, Sankalp Amonkar. Vijay Bab, I'll start with you. Did you expect such a landmark judgment, or this is more than what you asked for?
No, I expected this landmark judgment because I felt that our efforts, we had faith in the constitution and the judiciary. And we believed that our efforts to move the High Court and to also proactively take up the issue in the Supreme Court with the help of Goan lawyers like Sushant Narkarni would actually take democracy in the country forward. So in a way, I feel that this is a landmark judgment. This has exposed the mockery of the state by the state government, and especially people like puppets like the State Election Commissioner Chokaram Garg, who the court has ordered has to be immediately removed. And the Chief Minister's tweet on March 4th that democracy has been restored by the Supreme Court for the temporary stay till Tuesday. This Supreme Court has actually rejected his Ardha Satya, which he tried to say, call it as Satyamev Jayate. Satyamev Jayate is a term which is to be used at the end of the movie, not at the interval of the movie. So I think his attempts to cheat the people, manipulate the elections and derail democracy have been exposed by the Supreme Court. If he has any sense of propriety or respect for the rule of the law, then he should immediately resign, or the BJP High Command should sack him immediately.
I'll straight away go to Sankalp Amondkar, another petitioner in the case. Sankalp, same question. Did you expect such a landmark judgment, or this is more than what you expected and asked for?
See, you should remember, Pramod, when there was a stay given by the Supreme Court, that day only we had a similar debate, and that time I had told that the election commissions are doing something very hurriedly. They should wait the final judgment come, and again the election commission has to again do the same thing. Now they have to cancel this election and order remove fresh notification. So here the issue is like if the election commission had waited and they would have not bowed down to the pressure of the government, I think had this scope of Meopachenu. So again, I want to remind and I want to ask you, Pramod Bab, whether the chief minister has tweeted again today or not, because that day he had tweeted very proudly when the our stay was granted. Yeah, so now I think the CM of our Goa should come up openly and tell the people whether the democracy holder or not. So similar, everyone from their own cabinet under the leadership of Chief Minister Movin Gudino, Carlos Almeida, all has demanded, even yesterday they have demanded that the urban development minister who has been the failure and he is the main culprit who has started all this thing, because to safeguard his constituency, this has happened and created a problem in the entire Goa. So he has to be, first of all, sacked, should be removed from the ministry, and not we are demanding, even their own colleague, cabinet colleague like Movin Gudino and Carlos has demanded that he should be removed from the cabinet. Thank God, if these people, if this government has little bit sense, then he should be immediately sacked from the cabinet. Yeah. This is the thing, and people are looking towards it.
Yeah, I'll go to Shashikant Bab now. Shashikant Bab, from legal perspective, although you are a lawyer for the State Election Commission and as a lawyer in general, how do you look at this judgment? How landmark this is?
This judgment was a necessity of the day. The entire process of elections was converted into a mockery. I'll say, though I was appearing for the State Election Commission, I have to admit the whole thing had become a mockery. In the sense, by and large, what happens is, under the Constitution, the powers for reservation and delimitation should normally be vested with the State Election Commission. Many states have done it. As far as Goa government is concerned, Goa government has not done it. And that is why, in case of all these local self-governing institutions, including village panchayats, Jilla panchayats, as well as municipal councils, the reservations and delimitation is still being done by the state government itself. So, in fact, the Constitution provides that the powers of superintendence, direction and control of the elections should be with the State Election Commission. And so, in view of that, there was a need of amendment in the Constitution, which has not been done. And now, it is a fact that yes, this judgment was the requirement on the last day, during the last debate on the same issue before this same channel. I had basically said that if the Honorable Supreme Court goes into the merits of the judgment, then in that event Supreme Court will uphold the judgment and a lot of things will come to light. But if they go only on the issue of what you call it as the court should not interfere only on that principle, Article 243O, then in that event there may not be interference. But then it was expected that the Honorable Supreme Court will go into the merits of the judgment. The judgment was a reasoned judgment, but it explained everything. And it was an issue of constitutional mandate. When the Constitution itself has not less than 2/3, it means it is not less than 2/3. If there are 10, as I had said earlier, if there are 10 seats, 4 seats are to be reserved. So this constitutional mandate was violated. And not only that, one of the important things is, in case of each of these elections, the delimitation was done 5 or 6 days in advance. Thereafter, reservation was done at the last minute, and election notifications were issued. They were too hurriedly issued. Now, especially in this case, when the matter was before the Supreme Court, before the Honorable High Court, it was expected of the State Election Commission that yes, as far as other panchayats, municipal councils are concerned, no elections could be notified, and we could have taken leave of the court, which was not taken. So this entire thing is, yes, it was a need of the hour.
Vijay Bab, coming back to you, one very crucial point that even the Supreme Court raised is the way Election Commission re-notified the election after that interim stay, and it also went in the history of the case where I think one of your persons only went to the High Court and got that judgment that 3 weeks before the notification of the election, reservation and delimitation would have to be declared. And then before those 21 days were over, because of the petitions that you guys filed, State Election Commission went ahead and notified the election. When you look at this series of events, do you finally believe that all these rights, because you have been in the government, you are now in the opposition, do you believe that the rights of delimitation and reservation should solely rest with the State Election Commission and an independent State Election Commission and an autonomous State Election Commissioner?
See, first thing is, as an opposition legislator, in 2012, I had moved a private member bill saying that delimitation and reservation for panchayats and for municipalities should be with the State Election Commission and not Director of Panchayat and Directorate of Municipal Administration. Then Manohar Parrikar was the Chief Minister. He had promised me, no, we would give a period of 3 weeks prior. This was a promise on the floor of the House, and the private member bill was defeated. This was now almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago. Now, 9 years later, what we see, I would like to correct Mr. Shashikant Joshi. He said the constitutional mandate of 2/3. It's 1/3. Constitutional mandate of 1/3 has been.
You are right. It is not 2/3, 1/3.
And BJP's idea of democracy is nothing but an election fraud. I've been saying this long time. We had gone in a preemptive writ in the High Court, by which we had got direction from the High Court that it should be 3 weeks. That before the notification of election, the reservation and delimitation should be at least 3 weeks. Subsequently, the Pramod Sawant government was so drunk with power and arrogance of their numbers, artificially manufactured numbers in the House, that they went and amended the Municipal Act and said it at least 1 week, in spite of the directions given to the given by the High Court and the promise given by the AG that we would always accept 3 weeks. In spite of that, they amended the Municipalities Act in this short session and made it 1 week. Using that defense, they tried to take it till the last, for which we had to go to the court. Fact is that today, if the elections were held, we could have still won the election. We were active on the field. We had not given up. When the BJP says that we are ready to go to the People's Court, we were also ready in the People's Court. But we wanted to see, especially I am happy that it's on the day of the Jayanti of Goa's first Chief Minister, who brought the first democratic revolution in India by empowering the Bahujan Samaj, that the BJP's anti-Bahujan face has been exposed by the Supreme Court.
Vijay Bab, just tell me one thing. You mentioned about the amendment to the Municipal Act where they brought down the duration to 7 days. Will you challenge the act now? Now that you have got this judgment?
So challenging the act is also possible. Now we are in the business of fighting the elections now. Moving too much in the courts and keeping people in the courts is also a lot of headache. And we are, with our limited whatever possibility, we have done what we could best do.
Sankalp, same question. Now, after this judgment, do you want these powers of reservation and delimitation transferred from the government to the State Election Commission, and again, an independent and autonomous State Election Commission?
Definitely, definitely. Even last time also we had discussed the same thing, that the power should be given to the Election Commission and not to the state body, because the state body influence the representative interfere in that. So it should be an independent body, and this is the right decision. It won't be only implemented in Goa, but it is for the entire country. So Goa has set an example to the entire country wherever they don't have an independent body of election commission. So now everywhere in India, entire country, they will have to have an independent body or election commission where it will be independent.
Yeah.
So this is the right signal given. And first of all, we are very proud, and especially because my wife, my other people, Shanti Mandrikar, Shraddha Amonkar, they were the petitioner in this thing on behalf of the women's reservation. So I think the women who were not given the reservation proper representation. So with this Supreme Court order, I think Now the new reservation which will come will give proper reservation to the women, to the OBC, to the ST, SC. So all the people will get a proper representation. Especially we will not, especially in Mormugao, we did not have a single woman reservation. Out of 9 wards in Mormugao, not a single woman was given a reservation. So at least now we will get these 3 reservation for women. In fact, we had announced our panel yesterday, but that is no problem. Even if we have to change the candidates, we are ready for that. But the justice, we had the faith in this our court, and I think the court has given that justice to us, because this is a shame for this government. Because the chief minister, I think, on this moral ground, because it is a defeat for them, because I think on this moral ground he should resign. And I would especially like to thank our advocate Subodh Kantak, who led our case in the High Court and at Supreme Court level. My friend Mr. Salvador Santosh Ribello and also Advocate Ninath Lad, they were looking after the case. I really thank them, because they were the with whom it is possible. Now, last time also I told that if for government it is easily, because they are not spending money from their pocket, they are spending money of the public. It's a government money, our money, which they are spending. So they can go to any court. But here, people like us, our practitioner, we had gone to the High Court, Supreme Court, we have to sell out money from our pockets. So this is a big headache for us also. Yeah. But whatever we have done it for the people, and especially for the women where reservation was not given. So we don't mind fighting for the public. And the most important thing, we have got that relief, and the Supreme Court has given us the justice.
Shashikant Bab, how landmark is that? Supreme Court went ahead and said that if anywhere else in the country, if any other chief state election commissioner is holding the post as an additional charge, made it very specifically, categorically clear that you can't do this, you will have to step down immediately. Including now, I think the Goa government will also have to move very fast on changing the state election commissioner. How significant is that order?
Right from Tomar Singh's judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, Supreme Court has repeatedly said that it is a constitutional post. The office of State Election Commissioner is the same as like of Election Commission of India, or a commissioner appointed under Election Commission of India. They have plenary powers, they have residual powers, all the powers which are required for conducting of independent and fair elections are supposed to be vested in the Election Commission. So, in view of this, now the 2 things will appear, may happen. One is appointment. Now, appointment also, you require a right person to be selected for this purpose. Now, in this case, yes, it was a law secretary who was under the chief secretary, who was under the entire one of the bureaucrat of the government who was holding the charge of the election commission, and perhaps this is what is the result of that. Now, otherwise also, now when independent appointing, fresh appointment has to be done, it has to be an independent person again. It should not be somebody who is picked up from the government and made him and goes and joins. I mean, in the past we had Dr. Mudassar was independent, Mr. R.K. Srivastava, they acted independently. If you look at their affidavits filed in different petitions in the High Court, basically it gives an impression that they wanted to assert themselves. Now, this assertion can be done by the Election Commission only if the person holding that post is an independent post, who is a learned person, who goes into the Constitution, who studies. It is only then it is possible.
Vijay Bab, finally, what do you expect from the government and State Election Commission now?
I would like to appreciate Mr. Shashikant Joshi for being very generous in his thoughts. But the fact remains that BJP will now be not looking for government servants. They'll be looking for their cadre to appoint them as the state election commission. Please advise them at that point that even appointing cadre is not having the sanction of the Supreme Court. Even the Supreme Court may have not imagined that when you don't get bureaucrats, they go to cadre. See, who have been selected recently, they're all cadre. They've contested elections on the BJP ticket. They have now positions of information commissioner. They've got all these things. So these guys will have only a certain place to check where they can find talent, and that talent is where there is no talent. The BJP now hates talent in Goa, and that is why they are having the egg on their face. So one has to be very clear that the attempts by the government to strangle democracy, to murder democracy, has been exposed. We expect officers not to crawl when asked to bend, especially the DMA now. Because whatever Mr. Shashikant Joshi is saying will certainly not be in the agenda of the next budget session. I'm telling you, I challenge Pramod Sawant to bring the bill in the next assembly session, saying that the function of the DMA will be removed of delimitation and reservation. It will be given to the State Election Commission. Bring a bill. Let the government bring a bill. Otherwise, they bring all sorts of bills. They bring bills to transport coal. They bring bills to have double tracking. So for this, let them bring a bill to say that let this go to the State Election Commission and let the State Election Commission not be an ex-BJP cadre. This is a challenge. If not, people will teach them a lesson. People of Goa are not uneducated. This is not UP, this is not Bihar. This is an educated, high per capita income, per capita education quotient state.
Yeah, Vijay, point taken. Sankalp, what do you expect from the government and the State Election Commission now? Finally.
Pramod, what can I accept from this government? We had accepted from this government last time only. Baba, let us have a fair election. Let the resolution be fair. But this government has never given us anything fairly done. So now what we can accept? The Supreme Court has given a slap on his face. Now they have to act. Now the reservation has to be done properly. The 33% reservation for women has to be given. It is not the government will give. It is so by the order of the Supreme Court, we should get the 33% reservation and proper equally distributed as it is. Now again, they should not follow the same process, saying, Baba, like for example, in Murmagaon Municipal Council, there are 25 wards. So in that 25 wards, he will say, I'm giving 33% reservation, that comes to 9 women. So 9 women, he will give it only in Vasco and Dabolim. Again, he should not keep Murmagaon vacant. Like this time, what he kept from ward number 1 to 9 without a single woman. This should not happen. So we will fight again if this thing happens. So I want to tell the government, Baba, it should be very fairly done. Like for example, if ward number 1 is the ladies, then leaving 2 wards, the ward number 4 should be made ladies. So it should be.
You are saying follow a sane, logical rotation policy for reservation.
Rotation policy for reservation.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, they might say that we are giving 33% and they
let the reservation and delimitation be not as per the whims and fancies of the people sitting in the chair. Sankalp, point well taken. Shashikant Bab, finally, after this order, what do you expect state government and state election commission to do?
I am expecting, as Vijay has said, there is a requirement of amendment to the Municipalities Act, Panchayat Act, Jilla, and all these, basically these 2 acts. One more amendment which according to me should be done is some law has to be made regarding delimitation and reservation. Right now, it is all free for all. That kind of a situation should not be there because there has to be rotation. Principle of rotation has to be followed. Principle of what you call it as population is also to be considered. So unless there are well-framed rules, it cannot function this way. The time has come wherein yes, if these rules are also framed in the next assembly session, that would be something which is ideal in the scenario of today.
Now let us see what the Chief Minister of Goa feels about this Supreme Court verdict.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का वर्डिक्ट जो है वो हम मान्य कर लेते हैं और अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट आगे जो इलेक्शन के प्रोसेस है वो चालू कर दिए जाए.
The biggest takeaway of this Supreme Court order is very crucial. Let no one manipulate and bend the rule book to suit those in power. Thanks a lot everybody for joining me on this broadcast. Keep watching. Go ahead.
Marching to new heights of development under the dynamic and young leadership of Dr. Pramod Sawant. A visionary leader, a meticulous administrator, tirelessly working on the dream to take Goa ahead. Goa Ahead is brought to you by the Department of Information and Publicity, Government of Goa.